Welcome to Stoopid Movies, where we watch them so you don't have to.
Correct! And today we watched Haunt, 2019, 92 minutes long and rated R. Directed by Scott Beck and Brian Woods. Starred Katie Stevens, Will Britton, Lauren McLean. So we go to a haunt, a special haunt in this secluded kind of area because we want that thrill. So what happens when we go into this haunt that the clown let us in?
Sure. So Haunt is a group of bland, white, generic characters who go to this secluded haunt out in the middle of nowhere, completely by accident. They just happen to be there, and there's a haunt. So they're like, yeah, sure, why not? We'll do the haunt.
That time of year.
And as they're going through, they start getting killed off one by one by the scare actors.
All right, well, we love Halloween. We're in that block. We love going to haunts. We love that, all that kind of stuff. So what did we like about Haunt? I love the atmosphere in this movie. The contained, secluded haunt area, and just the layout and the location is really cool.
Yeah. It felt very small. Like the location wasn't a very big haunt.
They had different settings for each section of the haunt.
I like the concept of killers picking people off at a haunted house sort of situation.
Great concept.
We've seen it done in other movies better. But I really like the idea of it. It's so cool. And it's one of those, anytime you go to a haunted house now, you're going to think about that.
Yeah.
And it's like, wow, what if these weren't props and they really were killing people off? And that's such a cool fucking concept.
It's a great concept, and it creates a simple enough story, and the execution of it, I mean, theoretically shouldn't be too difficult.
Yeah.
So, and I like the execution in this. I thought it worked well, and just the way it pans out with the, I don't know, it's creepy the way they go about it.
I really liked in the second half of the movie when the killers are unmasked. I really like their designs. The makeup with the tattoos and the piercings and everything looked really, really cool.
Yeah.
I thought that was so neat.
The villains are pretty awesome in this. It has that twist to it.
Yeah.
Like when the reveal of, what are they? What is this really? What's really happening? It's really neat, and I don't think most people are going to see that coming.
No.
It's like it caught me off guard. I was like, whoa, okay. It's not what you assumed it would be. And I thought that was really neat and kind of unique and original. I love the score in this. It's kind of one of those subtle scores that creates an ominous tone to it, which pairs nice with the atmosphere that they're creating. Yeah.
It was really subtle because I got to be honest, I didn't notice it.
It is very subtle, but I think that works in its favor.
Sure, I would agree. It's not. It doesn't stand out.
Right, it's not one of those driving scores that a lot of slashers and stuff. That's kind of in the background, but it creates that kind of like, okay, this is spooky. What's going to happen?
And I'll pair with that because my favorite part of this movie was the soft rock, folk rock cover of Dragula.
Yeah.
Which plays at the end, over the end credits, which is why it was my favorite part. But the song was super cool. Like, I really enjoyed it. I actually sat and watched the whole credits to listen to that song. It was cool.
I love the amount of gore in this. It's pretty gory, has a lot of kills, and I think the practical effects that they use is really good. And I should say there's not a ton of gore, but it's graphic gore when we see it.
I was wondering if we watched the same thing when you said that there was a ton of gore.
Well, it's on a lot of it's on screen, like graphic gore, and I like the pacing of this. It's slower burn, it is, but it's the good slow burn because it gets there. It doesn't waste time getting to what's going on, and then it's consistent throughout. It doesn't speed up. It doesn't slow down.
Okay.
And I love it because of the atmosphere and the score and all that. It's great. Adam doesn't like white, bland characters in movies. So what does he not like about this movie?
Is there anything you don't like, or do you just want me to?
No. Regarding the pacing, faster pacing is always good.
Yeah.
I won't disagree with that. Yep. It's just one of those. It's one of those where it didn't bug me, but I would have liked faster pacing and a little more gore, I guess.
Sure,
because it could have used more.
I made a note that it had a very slow start, and then about halfway through, I made a note that it had a very slow middle, and then at the end, I made another note that the ending was also slow. The pacing on this was so pitiful.
Man, I don't understand it.
Because it was slow. Nothing happened for most of the movie.
But it's the good slow, though.
It wasn't. It was the bad slow. It was the slow.
Now keep this in mind. This is me saying that. Who
I know.
Struggles with slow
you love
pacing.
this movie, though.
I do love it.
I've already said that the characters are bland. These characters remind me of Cheerios.
Yeah.
And like not the honey nut Cheerios where you're like, there's a little bit of honey. These are like the plain boring, the paper cardboard tasting Cheerios. Sure. There's nothing there. And because of that, I didn't give a shit when they died. I just didn't. It was like, whatever. Okay. And what gore we got was good. But I saw this, I think, with a different lens than you did, because I noticed how many times they cut away from deaths and kills. Not only were the characters generic, but in the first half of the movie, the killers were as generic as a fucking dime store hockey mask. This was like, you go down to Spirit Halloween and you're like, I need a costume, just give me the cheapest fucking mask you can get. This is what you get. They had no character until they were unmasked. Right. Now, the second half of the movie was different for that. But that first half, man, I felt nothing for the kill. At least for Friday the 13th, I can fucking root for Jason if I don't care about the characters. But the killers, I didn't give a shit about either.
See, and the way I see that, I think that was done on purpose to build up that reveal and have that punch when that reveal happens.
I'm sure, but intentionally bad doesn't mean it's good. Ask Beelzebub.
I thought it was great. That's Beelzebub. Oh, lordy.
I think leading with all of that, because I didn't care about anything in this, there was no tension at all. Because I didn't care if the characters died or lived or escaped or anything. I agreed with you that the concept is really cool, but we've seen it better. So you didn't bring anything new to the table. Okay. This is a thing about the main character, the main girl. First of all, I really didn't give a shit about her story. There's a point towards the end where she's in a room and there's writing on the wall, but it's written backwards. And she has to turn around and take out her mirror so that she can read it. And it's only like 3 words. Like, find the key. It's not like a dissertation. You're not reading fucking War and Peace. It's 3 fucking words. You don't need a mirror.
I feel like you went into this trying to find shit just because I love it.
I didn't.
Whatever. You're like, I'm going to take notes. I'm going to dive in.
No, so I want to be clear. I took notes because I know Rob loves this movie.
Right.
I know you do. Yeah. And if I'm going to come in and say I hate it, I need to have very, very clear reasons for why.
Keep it simple. I absolutely love this movie. I think it's a great Halloween themed flick. I do wish there was more Halloween aesthetic in it. It doesn't have a lot of that, but the atmosphere is great. In my opinion, it has some tension. It doesn't scare me or something, but a casual viewer, I feel, is going to be pretty spooked by this. Characters aren't great. I don't have a problem with them. I don't usually care about that kind of stuff unless there's nothing else to entertain me. Whereas this, I love the atmosphere, the score, I love the setting, location, just the concept. I think the villains are great. I like that they're kind of plain and generic and simple until some, happens later in the movie. And it's pretty shocking when you very first see it. I would highly recommend it. I give this one an 8 out of 8.
Okay. The first time I watched this movie, I actively hated it. A part of it is that for like a month, every time you and I talked, you were like, you got to watch Haunt. This is a great movie. You're going to love it. And so I got it built up in my mind, because when you tell me something's good, man, I believe it.
Sure, right.
Because like, you have good taste usually. We don't always agree on movies, but you usually have good.
That would be no fun if we did.
So I think part of it was I went in with really high expectations the first time, and it just did not even come close. And it wasn't just you, because like for a while there, everyone on the internet was humping this movie. On my rewatch, I did soften up quite a bit, and I can see there are some good pieces to it. It was so boring. It was just like boring. So I was bored, and I don't know, it didn't capture me. And it bothers me because I don't see what you see in it, but I know you see something really cool. And it kills me that I don't see that too.
Right.
Because like I said, I usually think you have good taste in movies.
We usually like a lot of the same stuff.
And for us to be this far apart on something is just like, wow, what? One of us is missing something. I don't want to talk about this movie anymore. I have raised its score to a 2.5 out of 8. We're worlds apart on this one, so what we want you to do is, have you seen Haunt? Go down below and tell us which one of us is right. If you haven't seen it, go watch it and then go down below and tell us which one of us is right. Because I'm really curious. I know a lot of people. Tell me what I'm missing. Or tell Rob that he's full of shit. I don't care which way, but tell us, because we're so far apart on this one, and I just don't get that.
Yeah, so hop down there, let us know, like, subscribe, hit that bell thing, do all that. You tell your friends. head over to facebook.com/StoopidMovies, Instagram @StoopidMovies, and email us at StoopidMovies@outlook.com.
Yeah.
Did you go to any haunts? Let us know.
Before we go, haunt your penis.
Boo!
These characters remind me of Cheetos.
Cheetos?
Not like Honey Nut Cheetos, plain, boring, paper-flavored Cheetos. There is no flavor or anything to them.
Hold on. Cheetos? Or you mean
Cheerios.
Okay, I'm like, Honey Nut Cheetos. Is this something new?
That sounds awesome. I want Honey Nut Cheetos. God, retake.